Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Maisy Mok. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Paramilitary officers arrest former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. Locally, John Lee unveils a new look question and answer session with lawmakers. And China and Canada expelled one diplomat each in a new spat between the two countries. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan has been arrested by paramilitary officers outside the High Court in the capital, Islamabad. The highly popular Khan was in court on charges of corruption, which he and his supporters say are politically motivated. Videos posted on social media by Khan's party show paramilitary officers breaking the windows of the High Court. His lawyer was injured during the incident before they dragged Khan outside. A large number of officers in riot gear escorted 17-year-old Khan into a van. It's not known where he's been taken to. Khan, who was shot earlier this year in an assassination attempt, has been campaigning for the next general election expected in October. At least 13 Palestinians, including 6 women and 4 children, have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. 3 senior members of the Islamic Jihad group also died as explosions rocked the area for hours. Azam Khan reports.
A video released by the Israeli Defense Forces reportedly showed Islamic Jihad compounds being hit. Israel said it was targeting those deemed to be an imminent threat to its citizens. The airstrikes hit the top floor of an apartment building in Gaza City and houses in southern city of Rafah. At least 13 Palestinians were killed, including 6 women and 4 children, and 20 injured. Both sides confirmed the deaths of Islamic Jihad commanders Khalil Bahtini, Tarek Izzeldin, and Jihad Ghanem. Mohammed Al-Zek said everyone in his building in Gaza City were civilians. They were all sleeping when their homes were destroyed. Journalists said the airstrikes went on for hours as medics used makeshift equipment to try and tend to the wounded. The attack came amid rising tensions between Israel and Palestinian groups in the Gaza Strip. Palestinians are also angry over the death of hunger striker Khader Adnan in Israeli custody and the almost daily Israeli raids in the occupied West Bank. Azam Khan, HKIBC.
In Hong Kong, the chief executive is revamping the question and answer sessions in the Legislative Council to make them interactive. The first such meeting will be held next Thursday and will focus on national development. Briefing the press this morning before meeting his cabinet, Chief Executive John Lee said the visit which he and lawmakers made to the Greater Bay Area last month proved that patriots can work together. It also inspired him to increase contact with legislators. He'll do this by making the question and answer sessions in the Legislative Council more interactive and consultative.
The proposal that I'm making has the advantages of 3 current legislative processes, which are, first of all, the usual CE Q&A session. The second is motion debate, and the third is CE policy address consultation. The proposal I'm making now will be able to assist me to set priorities with constructive views from legislative members.
In past sessions, the chief executive replied to questions from lawmakers. But starting next Thursday, Lee will seek policy-making suggestions, and legislators can ask questions or express opinions on topics that are broad, important, and strategic. The first revamped meeting will focus on the 20th Communist Party Congress last October and the parliamentary and advisory body meetings in March. Li says he will answer questions that are not on the agenda. DAB chairwoman Steri Li welcomed the move and suggested that the session lasts for 2 hours so that more lawmakers can raise questions. Legislator Doreen Kong said the public expects livelihood issues to be discussed. British Trade Minister Dominic Johnson has met investors and officials in a low-profile 2-day visit to Hong Kong. Updating the public through a series of tweets, Johnson held talks with Victor Lee, chairman of CK Hutchison, which owns energy and transport infrastructure in Britain. He also met Financial Services Secretary Christopher Hoe, who visited London last month. Johnson is the first British official to travel to Hong Kong since 2018. Britain was Hong Kong's 12th largest trading partner in 2019, but relations have since soured following the imposition of the national security law. Chief Executive John Lee would not say if Johnson's visit implied ties were warming.
I welcome any government officials from different countries to come to Hong Kong to promote business, trade, and also people-to-people relationship. I think that will be helpful for everybody.
3 parents and a merchant have been charged with offering bribes to secure places in an international kindergarten. They will appear in court tomorrow. 1 year after the ICAC charged 10 parents with offering bribes to a former administrator of an international kindergarten, 3 more parents and a merchant have also been accused of bribing the same person. Michelle Wong, Mac Wai-Kee, and Zhu Shuangye are alleged to have offered $140,000 to Fatima Ramzan to secure K-1 slots for their children in the ESF International Kindergarten in Wu Kai Sha. Merchant Xiu Yu Pong is accused of offering $200,000 to Ramzan, also for a K-1 placement for his business partner's daughter. The alleged offenses took place between September 2018 and March 2021. The 4 defendants were each charged with 1 count of conspiracy for an agent to accept an advantage. They have been released on bail and will appear in Sha Tin Magistracy tomorrow. Ramzan was charged with bribery in June last year for allegedly accepting over $900,000 to secure kindergarten spots for 13 other children. The case against her and 10 other parents will be heard on July the 4th. A Chinese diplomat has been asked to leave Canada after he was accused of threatening a lawmaker. Beijing responded by expelling Canada's top envoy in Shanghai in yet another diplomatic squabble between the 2 countries, Raymond Yuan reports.
The latest row began with the report last week by the Globe and Mail newspaper, alleging that Toronto-based Chinese diplomat Zhao Wei had been targeting Canadian lawmaker Michael Chong and his extended family in Hong Kong as early as 2021. Chong, whose father emigrated from Hong Kong in the 1950s, has supported a motion condemning Beijing's treatment of Uyghurs. The Canadian intelligence agency was aware of the situation, but did not notify Chong or the top brass in government.
It is inexplicable that this diplomat hasn't been told to leave the country already, and I would hope that the deputy minister is informing the ambassador that this individual, Mr. Wei Zhou, should be on the first plane out or declared persona non grata.
We need to make sure that we are acting in a thoughtful manner to address this, because this is affecting all of us and affecting our democracy. So yes, I can tell you there will be actions.
Beijing rejected the accusations, but Ottawa ultimately decided to expel Zhao. In a statement, the foreign minister said Canada will not tolerate any form of interference, and that the decision was made after careful consideration.
所谓中国干涉加拿大内政，完全是无稽之谈。 In Beijing, Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin slammed the expulsion as a violation of the norms of international relations. In a tit-for-tat move, Canada's top envoy in Shanghai, Jennifer Lin Lalonde, was given 4 days to leave China. Relations between China and Canada have been icy for years, especially since Ottawa detained top Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou in late 2018 at Washington's request. Beijing retaliated by detaining Canadian nationals Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig. The diplomatic dispute was only resolved in 2021 when all 3 returned home. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused the West of inciting hatred against Moscow, adding that the world is at a decisive turning point. Putin told his compatriots that a war has been unleashed against Russia. He was speaking in Moscow's Red Square to mark the anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany in the Second World War. A military parade followed his speech, but this year's Victory Day celebrations were smaller in scale. That was mainly because Moscow's focus remains on its conflict in Ukraine. China's exports rose for the second consecutive month in April, but at a much slower pace. Imports unexpectedly plunged, raising concerns over the country's ability to boost its post-COVID economic recovery. Chloe Feng reports.
Recovery in the world's second largest economy was mixed last month, with exports and imports slowing down. Shipments abroad expanded only 8.5% in April, from a year earlier, to $295 billion. The increase was marginally higher than market estimates, but notably lower than the 14.8% increase seen in March. Imports plunged unexpectedly by 7.9% to $205 billion, sharply lower than market expectations of a mere 0.2% decline, and was the second straight month in red. China's trade surplus reached a 3-month high of $90 billion. In the first 4 months of the year, Southeast Asia was China's biggest trading partner, with the value of trade surging 14% in yuan terms. Trade with the European Union rose 4.2%, but there was a 4.2% drop in transactions with the United States. Looking ahead, Raymond Yang, Greater China chief economist at ANZ Group Holdings, said the mainland's trade figures will remain under pressure. As the latest weak data came after a low base a year ago, when the lockdown in Shanghai disrupted supply chains. The mixed performances raised questions whether the authorities will take further action to stimulate recovery. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
The Hang Seng Index tumbled 2.1% as China's trade data dampened investor sentiment. Tech stocks led the decline, with Tencent dropping 3.6%. Alibaba gave up 3.1% and Meituan 2.9%. BYD fell 1% after Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway trimmed its stake to under 10%. Insurers ran out of steam, with Ping An losing almost 4% and AIA diving 3.7%. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down by 429 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tencent was down $12.40. Alibaba was down $2.50, while the tracker fund was down 44 cents. Meituan was down $3.90. Bank of China was down 5 cents. Ping An was down $2.40. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, euro is at 8.59. Pound sterling is at 9.8, while the Australian dollar is at 5.3. At last, over to the UK market. It is now down 32 points. On to the weather now. Mostly cloudy with sunny periods. Temperatures will range between 23 and 27 degrees. Expect a few showers in the lead up to the weekend. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Maisy Mok. Good night.